Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It has been quite some time, as far as I know. But a lot has changed, as you can see. Yay, I have my new apartment. That's really it. I've also been just moving in and dealing with all of that and just writing up the script. So this video has been requested by one person mainly for a long time. And that man's name is TAXFRAUD Onyrō. Yes, he has been asking for this since January of this year, and I know I'm finally getting to it. This is mostly for him. Obviously, he knows an interesting video to research and record. I guess the recordings go to him, the gameplay's all him. I'm also just, I guess, semi-reacting to it and using that as like a basis. So this kind of thing is new to me. If you want to put in your own suggestion, feel free to go to my Discord right here. I recently just acquired it from Johnny Razor, who's doing great. And in bad video essay ideas, here's a screenshot of what we have so far and the ideas. You can be chosen and you'll get a shout out. And obviously you'll be used to get a special role as well. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Apologize for the wait, but hopefully it was worth it. Let's get into it. Oh god. What's poppin', guys? Welcome back to Super Bros 1 Game, and welcome back to another video. And I hope you guys like the new intro. I made it just a couple nights ago, and it's like my third time. I think I needed the intro. Let me know your thoughts on it. If anything I should add, I should update. Obviously, the more that I do this, the more time and learning I can do in my drawing and editing, the better it'll get. Anyways, today we are going to be doing Jin Sakai versus Atsu. Basically, Ghost of Tsushima versus Ghost of Yotei. That's the best way to describe it. Like I said earlier in the video, this one was described by TAXFRAUD Andrew, or just Dick if you join the server. And anyways, let's get right into it. Who is the ghost, Jin Sakai? Jin starts as a traditional samurai with top-tier sword skills. He learns multiple stances: stone, water, wind, moon, each countering different weapon types. That makes him adaptable. As Red Bull notes, stances change Jin's body type, so he can counter shields, spears, heavy enemies, etc. And in practice, Jin switches stance instantly to match the enemy. And of course, when honor fails, Jin abandons it. He becomes the ghost, using stealth and surprise. He can silently kill foes from behind or change several stealth kills in rapid succession. For example, after one stealth takedown, Jin can immediately follow with 2 more assassinations. High upgrades even let him chain 3 kills. That means a trained squad of foes can be wiped out one by one without even alerting others. Of course, he's gonna have gadgets. Stuff like smoke bombs to hide and reposition, kunai to interrupt attacks, sticky bombs for crowd damage, firecrackers to distract, etc. These tools let him isolate enemies or escape when needed. Combined with this stealth, Jin can engage on his terms. He can keep things in a controlled environment without letting them get out of hand. And the one thing he has is the ghost stance. Once unlocked, it can be triggered after killing a boss or building a meter by kills. Activating ghost stance turns him effectively invincible for a short time, letting him one-shot enemies. Crucially, it terrifies normal enemies. A Red Bull guide explains it lets Jin perform one-hit kills as a chance to terrify, meaning enemies will flee on sight. So, if we look at his strengths versus his limits, he's an expert duelist and assassin, full control of engagement, powerful fear-based abilities. That's especially important. However, he is a mortal human. Tactics rely on enemies having fear or predictable habits. And if that fails, he is a skilled, but he is also a normal samurai. So Atsu's backstory is, obviously, as one is, tragic. As a child in northern Japan, in Etso, she witnessed her family's massacre. The trauma awakened something in her. Her mother had taught her about the Onyrō that seeks posthumous revenge. By legend, an Onyrō is a spirit capable of causing harm in the world of the living by injuring or killing enemies to exact vengeance. The term literally means vengeful spirit. In Atsu's case, she effectively becomes one. Her grief and rage fuel her transformation to a living embodiment of wrath. And according to the fan wiki, Atsu is a skilled lethal combatant. She trains herself in various weapons. She masters a second katana for dual blades, the yari, a spear, and a kusarigama, a chain sickle, and a heavy odachi sword. She can switch weapons to counter foes, much like Jin's stances. For example, she uses dual katanas against polearms, yari against dual wielders, and kusarigama against shield breakers, etc. Her style is brutal and fast, emphasizing mobility and taking initiative, and she even underwent training for sword forms and uses standoffs, draw attacks, to kill in one strike. So remember, both of these do have one-hit kills, in a sense. One's more an ability, one's more of a tactics, but the main difference we're seeing here so far is that while Jin uses precision and control and focus to attack their enemies one by one, Atsu's going to use pressure, he's going to use anger, and is going to try to close any kind of gaps, specifically to break that kind of... It's two sides of the same coin. They're literally made to counter each other. And Atsu also uses ranged weapons. She gets bows and eventually a matchlock pistol. She can enter a period of concentration to slow down time and aim more accurately. Additionally, her bond with her horse lets her charge through enemies with no penalty. Unlike Jin, she doesn't need armor barding. She also carries many shinobi tools, bombs, kunais, etc., and can stealth/assassinate by using grappling hooks and terrain to avoid detection, much like a ninja. She also fights very dirty if needed, even throwing improvised weapons, sake jars, picked up blades at foes. The net effect is Atsu is a versatile fighter who can adapt to enemy weapons and fight up close or at range, often preemptively striking. Now, the strongest part of Atsu's build is her spirit, or Onryo powers. She has a spirit meter that she uses for supernatural move. For example, Onryo's will. If she is killed, she can spend spirit to revive with a chunk of health. She also has Dance of Wrath, where Atsu can dash up to 3 times, slashing enemies with huge power. Each slash disarms and breaks the guard of opponents, leaving them vulnerable. It costs spirit, but lets her burst through multiple enemies at once. She also has Onryo's Howl. This is essentially her fear move. When activated, the screen turns sepia, and nearby enemies are terrified. They flinch, cower, and drop their weapons. The closest enemy will drop their guard, allowing Atsu to kill it with no retaliation. After that kill, the ability ends, and this is very similar to the Ghost Stance effect, but it's activated by Atsu's Rage. And she actually has the Ghost Stance herself. Later in the story, she also learns Ghost Stamps. When used, she dual wields katana, the screen goes black and white, and opponents flinch and stop attacking for a short time. She can then kill up to 3 enemies without taking damage. This requires at least 7 consecutive kills to build up, so it's harder to reach than Jin's, and in fact, she also becomes a ghost for a moment. She's also very relentless, not even about just in general. Her fighting style is aggressive, fearless, her hatred blinds her. As soon as she confronts a target, she's literally obsessed with killing them at all costs. This matches folklore Onryo traits. Vengeful spirits are bloodthirsty and heartless, and show no mercy. But in gameplay terms, Atsu will gladly trade blows. Her Onryo powers even let her shrug off death, using Onryo's will. Most importantly, an Onryo in Legend takes vengeance and is driven by rage. An opponent like Atsu won't likely panic or flee. She might become the embodiment of fear. Alright, once again, we're going to go over the strengths and limits. Her strength, she's got very diverse weapon mastery, supernatural resilience, terrifying special moves, and literally embodies vengeance. Again, important to keep a note. Her limits. If taken by surprise, she can be hurt, but her spirit resource makes her very hard to eliminate. So if we take a side-by-side comparison, you've got Jin Sakai for combat style, who's a samurai, precise counters and sword stances. Atsu is self-taught, she's aggressive, brutal, mobility-focused style. They both have really similar weapons. Jin has katanas, bows, smoke bombs, kunai sticky bombs, and chooses stance versus the enemy type, while Atsu has dual swords, secondary katana, spear, kusarigama, odachi, bow, pistol, bombs, kunais, and more weapons, so kind of outmatched on that side. And their special abilities, why Atsu has a lot more with the standoff, Iajutsu, with Jin, the instant kill with the samurai quick draw, and his goat stance. It just might not be enough, but look, we're just gonna keep going. I'm just saying, so far it really looks like Atsu's just taking the lead here. Now, fear and mind games. This one's kind of important. While Jin intimidates with just Ghost Legends, with obviously Ghost stance terrifying foes, Atsu is essentially immune to fear tactics. As a vengeful spirit, the Onyrō concept is to not hesitate for revenge. The Ghost Stance sphere would likely not stop her. Onryo's How is literally the counter. And again, Jin is human. He can be injured or killed. He can recover with focus and resolve and some charms, but Ghost Stance only grants temporary invulnerability. While Atsu is literally supernaturally resistant, can revive herself, and has insanely strong stamina with no known easy fatal weakness. Jin, while yes, very good with guerrilla warfare, can isolate enemies, chain assassinate, and use bombs to thin ranks, Atsu is all-out offense. She rushes forward relentlessly. She uses dash and guns to overwhelm. Combined range barriers will follow up melees and relies just on momentum. It's gonna break that. And if Jin cannot break that pressure and cannot dodge, it's over. It's gonna build up, and he can't do that. And while he's so you have best versus cautious, or honor-bound foes, he's gonna use disruptions to set up stealth, but he's going to struggle if the opponent never flees or stops attacking. And while Atsu is best versus fearful opponent, her unending aggression is obviously going to stop preparation. She can be countered by almost nothing, possibly none. The obvious one might be stealth bombs, but they're going to have a limited effect. So how would this realistically play out? If we're being completely honest here, Jin probably will start the fight on his own terms. He's going to get the first strike, or at least the first real advantage, and that's consistent with how he fights. At first, it's going to start like a normal encounter. Jin's going to test reaction, he's going to look for patterns, he's going to try to settle into a good rhythm, but Atsu's not going to give him one, nor is she supposed to give him one. They're going to keep moving forward. They're going to force exchanges instead of just waiting for them. But Jin's going to adjust. He's going to use his tools. He's going to create that space, and he's going to try to slow things down back on his terms. And it might work for a little bit, but as the more and more that Atsu keeps holding that pressure and pushing that gap and closing that gap, the more it's going to shift into her favor. Jin's going to start reacting more. His movement's going to get even tighter. He's going to start having less room to work with, and at some point it's going to stop being a controlled fight, which is in Jin's favor, and turns into a direct exchange, which is in Atsu's favor. It's going to be basically based around timing and durability, and while Jin is more skilled, he's going to land better hits and avoid more damage early on. Atsu's pressure is never going to drop, and if Jin can't hold that pressure, which he most likely can't, he's gonna lose it. But this is a clean and honor-bound duel. Jin wins. He's more technical. He's gonna be more efficient. He's better at managing the fight. But that's not gonna be the situation that Atsu's gonna create, nor is she gonna allow it to happen. She's gonna turn into a constant close-range fight where there's no time to reset. And in that kind of fight, the person willing to take more damage to keep that pressure up is going to have the advantage, and usually has the advantage, and that's gonna be Atsu. So overall, Atsu's going to win more often, and it's not because she's more skilled, but because they force the fight into a situation where Jin can't use his strength as effectively. It's like beating your opponent before they have a chance to fight back, or get rest, or get their strength up, or even, for lack of better terms, pop their ultimate or something like that. So Obviously, all this is just speculation. Of course, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Andrew, you could think something else. You could think Jin wins. You guys could agree with me that Atsu wins. I'm also just with my own research that I've done and the sources that I looked up. I haven't really played much of Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei. A lot of the stuff is from Andrew himself and just looking up stuff online. I do love story. I'm trying to come around to it, so you guys can flame me for that in the comments, whatever you want. But I do appreciate you for those who have watched this video, and I hope you guys can tell me your opinions and how I'm doing with all this. This was probably one of my newer, official, video essays. I have a bunch more in the works, and that Dark Souls 3 video is still in the works. I have another Dark Souls 3 video I'm about to upload, and it's a shorter one, very shorter one. It's just a little funny one. But that challenge video I just got the intro finished. So yeah, I thank you so much for watching. Once again, if any of you guys have any other suggestions on what I should make or any video ideas, drop them in either the comments or in the Discord server, which I will link below. Same with my TikTok, which my girlfriend just helped me set up, and of course my Instagram, if you guys want to go check me out over there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.